Hey guys, so this is Ty. I'm currently recording a draft video for Sneak and Show. I'm about to at least. Jumped in 8-4 here, just waiting for the 8th player to join, which hopefully shouldn't be too long. So the plan is, sort of, especially after the GP Melbourne, we just had GP Richmond just pass. Hoping to get a bit of draft practice in for the upcoming PDQ this weekend, just to date this. So let's kick it off. So this pack's not the best. We got some sweet cards. Raised by Wolves is a pretty strong card. You've got Retraction Helix is probably one of the coolest blue cards. This, Nullify, Weight of the Underworld. I really like to draft a blue-black control deck in this block. The pack 1's always fairly underwhelming, but pack 2 you get things like Divination's in this one. You get Read the Bones, Memnonic Wall. It's just like it all sort of starts to come together. You get a lot more, a couple of kill spells. So here I'm probably looking to just take the Retraction Helix. Afari's Enlightenment's really good in the blue-white deck, the heroic deck that is. You've got Raised by Wolves, Perplexing Chimera. This card's a 5-mana 3/3. So here I think it's between Nullify, Retraction Helix. Nullify's a little bit harder to cast if I do move into something like the blue-white deck, so I think I'm just going to take the Helix. This card, triggers heroic and is just an unsummon at worst. So we'll go with that and we'll hopefully wheel a sweet blue-black card. So this one here we've got Shrike Harpy. This card's pretty sweet. Comes into play as either a 5-mana 4/4 or they sacrifice a creature, which is always good when the plan is to keep the board empty. Other than that, we've got Stratus Walk. This card it basically just draws a card. You can occasionally jump one of your creatures, or you can even sometimes stop one of their creatures from blocking your ground creatures as you attack through. Other cards of note, we've got the Giant. This guy's, a 5-mana 5/5 at worst, but other than that, there's not a whole lot in this pack. So the Servant's okay, but I definitely wouldn't pick it over something like a Shrike Harpy. So we're just going to pick this card, and luckily for me, this does look like it's shaping up to put me in a blue-black. So hoping we don't get cut too badly, but everything still seems to be going well. So we've got the Swordblade Centaur as just a really solid green card. Again, we've got more shield mates going by, so the blue-white deck's pretty sweet. Here we've got a Chorus of the Tides or a Stratus Walk for the deck, and the Chorus, this card's a 4-mana 3/2 with flying, so it's a big beat stick, it blocks really well, and there's nothing else I really want to take over here. There's no reason to ship colours and to, pick a double green 3/2, so we'll snap this up, and we'll see what else comes along. Maybe a Read the Bones, or a Divination, the other one. Here it's this, maybe a Disciple, but I've already got a 5-drop. This card's not the best, it's a bit slow. We've got the Snake as another good green card. We've seen a couple of them. Ragemonger, this card's very powerful if you get the black-red deck going, especially in the Minotaur deck. So here there's nothing else that sort of shines. We're just going to take the Divination. Alrighty, back to our pack 1. We've got a Nullify, Weight, and another Retraction Helix. So there's a lot better. The removal gets a lot better in the 2 Theros packs. You get Lash the Whip, Sip of Hemlock. So I'm not a fan of taking Weight. It's also fairly underwhelming. Only gives -2 toughness for 4 mana. So here I think it's between one of the blue cards. It's either a second Retraction Helix or a Nullify. And now that I know that it's definitely shaping up to be most likely a blue-black control deck, I'm more likely to take the Nullify. We've got the Unsummon and Griptide in, the Theros packs, so hopefully I can pick up one of them. And just a lot better answers to creatures, so I'll take the Nullify. And worst happens, we can always jump into maybe blue-green. So here, we've got Nyxborn Eidolon is an average black creature. The Hypnotist, this is fairly bad. It's just another sort of filler creature. Crypsis is fairly sweet. It's untaps a creature, gives it protection from all of their creatures until end of turn, and it's an instant speed. So often you find yourself untapping one of these creatures. Like if you untap a Chorus, you get to scry 1. get a little bit of extra value and just kill one of their creatures for free. So yeah, we're definitely not sad about seeing this. Alrighty, so Floodtide Serpent, this card is actually quite good. It reads fairly bad, having a return enchantment, but often it just doesn't matter. You can bounce things like Stratus Walk, we've seen 2 of those go by so far. Keep drawing a card every turn. It's also just a 5 mana 4/4, it blocks fairly well. So it's sort of that. The Marsh Mist Titan is a bit slow. And then we've got Divination, and here I think it's just Divination. This card is very good. The more Divinations, the better. So here we see, as I was saying before, the Stratus Walk. 2 mana, draw a card, at worst. So we'll definitely pick one of them up. Ooh, so the Nullify came back around. So let's take the Counterspell. So here, back to the Servant. So, has Inspired, untaps, you gain a life, all your opponents lose a life. It's also got Regen, which is basically where it shines. It blocks, regens, and then triggers Inspired on the way back out. So you've got this, or another Stratus Walk. Here we're fairly, wrong one. We're fairly low on creatures, only having the Chorus and the Shrike Harpy. So I'm going to pick this up, sort of fill a bit of a hole in our early game. Same reasoning here, just goes for the Fellhide Brawler. I'm probably not going to pick it, but it's just an early creature. Sorry, not going to play it, but it's just an early creature if I need to apply some pressure. It doesn't block very well. Here we've got the Drifters being a 4/2, or the Disciple, and the Disciple's just a better card, I believe, especially in this type of archetype. And Necrobite. Definitely a solid one. Charging Badger. We are probably not going to splash this card, but who knows? So this is quite a solid pack one. We got 13 playables, 12 if you don't count the Brawler. Alrighty, so pack 2. We've got a Harpy, 2/2 Flying Lifelink, really solid card, and a Sip. Now, the Sip is, this being uncommon means I'm more likely to see another one, especially in the next 2 packs, and you usually don't want more than 1 or 2, whereas the Harpy here is, a good creature, fills a bit of a hole in my curve, and, it's just really good. If you can bestow something on it, you can just start gaining a lot of life very quickly. Alright, so we've got Lash the Whip, very good removal spell, and Sea God's Revenge, return 3 creatures, scry 1. So personally I found Sea God's Revenge to be fairly iffy in the blue-black control deck. You often find yourself not having a lot of threats in play till you sort of play a bomb, and just bouncing 3 creatures sort of buys you a turn and you're not really capitalizing on that. So here I'm not too phased about passing it. I'm definitely going to pick the Lash the Whip though. Obviously things to note are a Wingsteed Rider and a Chosen Heliod being passed, so someone could move into white and end up with quite a sweet deck. So, as I was saying, you often don't have much to capitalize till you hit your bomb, and in this case, Abhorrent Overlord is huge. So, this pack is actually really good. If, we can pick some black cards, we can possibly wheel the Return Centaur or the Freaker's Cure, or even just, a Wave Crash Triton or the Chimera, sweet cards to come back. So we definitely snap off the Overlord here, and hopefully see some Grey Merchants. So this pack, we've seen a lot of good cards. So we've got Baleful Eidolon. This card is Doomblade. It gets a little bit better if you put it on things like the Harpy, start gaining a bit of extra life, or even just bestow it on top of another creature you want to chump with. And then we've got, Dissolve, another really sweet counterspell, and Vapor King. So we've already got 2 counterspells, and I'm not really too phased about passing a Dissolve with these. I'm not too worried about bombs when I've got the 2 Nullifiers and a Retraction Helix at the moment. So it's mainly between the Vapor King and the Eidolon, and I think the Eidolon's just a much better card. We're going to hide this Brawler. We're not going to be playing this, assuming everything goes well. Yeah, so Voyager's End, this card is nuts. Especially if, they put an aura on a creature and you unsummon in response and get a bit of value out of the sky, and then untap and play a creature. So, and there's not much else in this pack, really. Here we've got some good green cards. Voyaging Satyr is probably one of the best green commons, and Ordeal of Nihilus is still in the pack. It's definitely something to note, but sticking on plan, just another Baleful Eidolon. This is 2 Doomblades. Okay, so this pack's not the best. So Cutthroat Maneuver, give 2 creatures +1/+1 on lifelink. It's not very good when you don't have many creatures. So basically it pins it on Breaching Hippocamp or the Wanderer, and the Wanderer is just an awful card. So we're going to take the 3/2 with Flash. And this card does get in there. And alright, so we can. So there's still lots of green-white cards. So hopefully no one's in that deck. We passed quite a lot of good cards for both of those. So here we can pick the Annul. Bring it in against some of the creatures, some of the decks with some of the bomb things like weapons. What I'm not a fan though is bringing in this against decks with one specific card that you want to answer, because the odds of you drawing it are just not very good. Whereas if you bring in one of the green versions, you can often just kill it whenever you draw the thing, so it doesn't matter if it comes down for a turn, whereas this is fairly niche. So here I'm just going to take the Vanquish. I don't think anyone's going to be playing white with it going this late, but it is just an answer to my Overlord and some of my other better cards if they get a little larger. So, and I'm not going to be playing an L. Here it's the Burnished Heart or the Sip, and with the Heart's not as relevant now that we have 2 divinations, so we're just going to take the Sip and just buy some more time. Here it's there's not much here. I'm definitely not going to be splashing any of these white cards, so we're just going to take the Unknown Shores. And so the Centaur came back. This card's fairly sweet. 2/4 comes into play, they mill 4. Really good if the game goes grindy. You can try to mill them. Benthic Giant, 4/5 with Hexproof. It's sort of just another Overlord, just a big card to come down late. So I've seen 2 of these go by, which makes me think there's definitely no one in black-white. We also have one of these. There's a bunch of green cards gone by. I think we just take this. It's more likely someone's going to want to play it. And force the best card in the deck. Alright, so pack 3 here. We're just hoping to maybe open a couple more 1-drops. Actually, no, Attraction Helix is probably fine. I'm probably just looking for something just to flesh out the rest of the deck. Currently, we just sort of have to Divination to Overlord. A Grey Merchant's probably the best card I'm looking, just to buy me some time. Disciples and things to go in between. Nimbus Naiad and Blood Toll Harpy, definitely some of them. We've got a Sealock Monster. This card is a huge blocker. This is quite a good pack. So I think Nimbus Naiad is better than the Blood Toll Harpy, especially considering we don't have a Grey Merchant yet. And then it's basically the Naiad or the Monster. Here we don't really have a whole lot of blockers. We have, the Eidolons to trade off, but then it's just sort of the Satyr, the Servant, and that's about it at the moment. So I think I'm just going to take this, buy me some time between here and the late game. And hopefully we'll, one of these 3 cards, at worst, maybe a Tormented Hero. Ooh. Wow, this pack is insane. Alright, so the best card here for us is Hero's Downfall. It's instant speed, kill spell. Any of the cards we're hoping to wheel, Griptide, Voyager's End, Memnonic Wall would probably be one of the best ones beside Griptide. And then, Disciple of Phenax is playable, Tormented Hero is playable. Yeah, hopefully we just wheel something out of this. Like I imagine the Hoplite will go, and then one of these blue cards, and then I'm not even sure. Maybe the red card. I haven't seen many red cards this game, but this one's fairly bad. Ooh, okay. So we've got Erebos' Emissary and the Return Phalanx. So the Emissary definitely gets in for a lot more, but the Phalanx can hit for a bunch, but it's also quite a good blocker. So it's pretty much between them two. It's just a matter of... Oh, sorry, hang on. I missed the Memnonic Wall. This card is probably one of the better cards in the deck. Just being able to play a wall, bring back a Downfall or a Divination is just insane. This card's just better than both of these, I think, at the moment. Snap up the wall. Jeez. So, all of these cards are still very playable. I definitely play an Omen Speaker or a Marauder Siege to push through some damage, but there's still a Griptide, so we just take this. This deck is very powerful. The hits. Alright, well, we could take a second Lash the Whip, a Blood Toll Harpy, a Disciple of Phenax, an Ordeal. Ordeals aren't as good because you're not really going to be attacking with as many creatures. So, and then there's even a Disciple. Sorry, a Temple of Deceit. So, think it's between the Lash, the Whip, and the Temple. We've got the Downfall, the Lash, and the Sip as our main kill spells, so another one's definitely not going to be too far off ideal. We do have a lot of cards in the deck though, so it's between this and this. I can definitely see us playing another Lash, so I will take the Temple. I was just trying to think through. I was just flicking through all the different cards I'm going to cut, and I can't really see a whole lot. It's probably like Crypsis, Servant, Necrobite, and then it sort of starts to trail off, because a lot of these are pretty good. It's probably not playing the Giant. So I figure, let's just take a good amount of fixing land, smooth out some of our draws. We do have a lot of 5-drops. Here it's just Farika's Cure. This card is just another kill spell. You know, it helps us get to the mid-game and the late game. Wow. Alright, so we've got a second Harpy is a good one, plus we've also got a Rescue. Rescue gets a lot better when you have a lot of the cheaper creatures, you know, the 2-1 for 1 black, and just Eidolons are definitely a good one with it. But the best combo is just Grey Merchant. You know, sacrifice a creature, bring back Grey Merchant after you've already hit them with it once, and usually just end the game. But unfortunately we haven't seen any of them in this draft, so I think I'm just going to take a second Harpy. You know, recoup some of the life we'll probably lose in the early game, and then, you know, just be a clock when we move towards the end. Here, Fellhide Minotaur, it's a 2/3, it blocks really well, so we'll just take this. Jeez. So we've got Tormented Hero, Blood Toll Harpy. Here I'm just looking for ways to push through damage. We've got lots of counter spells, lots of removal. Hey, it comes down to play worst off at trades with something often. And a second wall. Jeez, this is awesome. Here we're not going to be playing any of these cards, so the card I'm probably most afraid of is probably Commune with the Gods. If someone gets some sweet deck going with that, it's not something I want to face. Here it's probably March of the Returned. Again, if we get into an attrition match, I can just use it to bring back, you know, a Mnemonic Wall and an Overlord. Just take the creature, and the creature again. Alrighty, on to deck building.